From a blood spatter analyst who killed for over 2 decades without detection, to fugitives who became the FBI's most hunted criminals with the full weight of federal resources tracking their every move. In this video, we're going to be exploring how Dexter Morgan's killing career stacks up against the criminals who made it onto the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and whether his methods would have kept him free if the Bureau had been directly hunting him. First up, we got planning and preparation. Dexter Morgan never rushed a kill. Every target got weeks or months of careful watching before he ever made a move. Throughout the series, Dexter showed obsessive preparation. In Season 1, when tracking the ice truck killer, he spent weeks analyzing crime scenes and patterns before figuring out his biological brother, Brian Moser, was behind it. In Season 4, Dexter spent over a month studying Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer. He went to Mitchell's public appearances, followed him home, and even pretended to be a guy named Kyle Butler to get inside Mitchell's family life. He learned Mitchell's pattern: burying a young boy, bleeding a woman in a bathtub, pushing a woman to her death, and beating a father of 2 to a death with a hammer. Dexter tracked Mitchell's construction charity work across multiple states, wrote down his movements, and only went for the kill after he had overwhelming proof that Mitchell deserved it according to the code. This approach gave Dexter complete control over his targets. He knew their schedules, their habits, and where they were vulnerable. When he finally moved, his victims never saw it coming. The preparation meant no rushing, no panic, no mistakes from acting too fast. He studied blood patterns for his job, understood crime scene investigation, and used that knowledge to avoid leaving evidence behind. His kill rooms took hours to set up. Plastic sheets measured and taped down, tools cleaned and organized, sedatives measured based on body weight. That level of control meant something huge. Dexter had time. Time to watch, time to plan, time to make everything perfect before doing anything. So how does that stack up against fugitives who had federal agents breathing down their necks while just trying to stay alive? FBI's most wanted fugitives rarely got to plan anything. They lived in constant panic, making split-second choices while law enforcement tracked them everywhere. Ted Bundy escaped from Colorado jail twice in 1977. The first time, he jumped out a courthouse window during his hearing. The second time, he cut through his cell ceiling, crawled through air ducts, and dropped into a guard's apartment. After that second escape, Bundy stole cars, used stolen credit cards, and killed 3 more women within weeks. He was falling apart. Planning had gone out the window. Police caught him in Pensacola, Florida just 6 days after killing Kimberly Leach. He was driving a stolen Volkswagen Beetle so badly that a cop pulled him over for a traffic stop. All that careful planning that made Bundy dangerous before his arrest completely vanished once he was running. When the FBI puts someone on the most wanted list, planning stops and surviving starts. Every choice becomes about right now, finding food, finding shelter, finding a way to move, while federal agents work across state lines, track money, and put photos in every police station nationwide. Eric Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber, spent 5 years hiding in the Appalachian Mountains to stay free. He survived by digging through trash, stealing from cabins, and living in the woods. That kept him from getting caught, but he was just surviving. He couldn't plan, he couldn't move freely. He could only hide. Dexter spent months preparing each kill. Most wanted fugitives spend months just trying to wake up tomorrow without handcuffs. So the winner is Dexter. Careful preparation with all the time in the world versus fugitives forced to make a panic decision every day. Planning wins when nobody's actively hunting you. But before we break down Dexter's isolation compared to fugitive support networks, if you're finding this analysis interesting, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. Dexter's preparation gave him control when he set the timeline. That advantage disappears the second someone starts hunting you, which brings us to the next big difference: resources and support. Alone by design versus criminal networks. Dexter Morgan ran a completely independent operation. No accomplices, no criminal contacts, no outside help that could flip on him or leave trails. From the very first episode, Dexter worked alone. He didn't need money launderers, safe houses, or criminal buddies. His normal life gave him everything: a real paycheck from Miami Metro, an apartment in his own name, a boat for dumping bodies. In Season 2, when Lila West killed Dokes in that Everglades cabin, Dexter didn't thank her. He cut her out completely because she had become a problem he couldn't control. When his brother Brian wanted them to team up in Season 1's finale, Born Free, offering to kill together, Dexter killed Brian instead. The code demanded it, and partnerships meant vulnerabilities. In Dexter New Blood, he lived in Iron Lake for almost 10 years without a single partner, keeping his Jim Lindsay cover by going entirely through a regular job and fitting into the community. No partners meant no betrayals. Dexter never worried about someone getting busted and making a deal. He never feared a partner talking. He controlled all the information because he was the only person who had it. This total self-reliance extended to his kills. He didn't need to buy untraceable weapons or hire specialists. He worked in forensics, which gave him access to M99 animal tranquilizer, knowledge about getting rid of bodies, and inside understanding of how investigations work. Operating alone also means limits though. No one to back up his alibi, no one to help if things went sideways, no network to help him vanish if cops closed in. Which makes you wonder, how did fugitives with entire criminal organizations helping them do when the FBI decided that they need to be caught? Many FBI most wanted fugitives had huge criminal networks, tons of money, and international connections, advantages that should have kept them hidden forever. James Whitey Bulger spent 16 years on the FBI's most wanted list with about $25 million in cash, serious criminal connections, and decades of experience running Boston's organized crime. He kept moving: New York, Louisiana, Wyoming, California, using fake names and paying cash for everything. His brother William was a powerful Massachusetts State Senate president. Bulger even had corrupt FBI agents who warned him before his 1994 indictment, giving him time to run. Despite all those advantages, the FBI found him in Santa Monica in 2011, after a neighbor recognized his girlfriend from an FBI publicity campaign. Osama bin Laden had an entire terrorist network protecting him, safe houses in Pakistan, and money from Al-Qaeda's worldwide operations. The FBI, working with the military and CIA, still found him after 10 years. Resources and networks gave these fugitives short-term wins, but those same networks created weak spots. Every person who knows where you are could become an informant. Every money move can be traced. Every contact becomes a risk. Bulger's girlfriend gave him away. Bin Laden's courier led operatives to his compound. The second a fugitive depends on other people, they bring in variables they can't control. Dexter never had that problem because he never created those weak points. So once again, the winner is Dexter. Criminal networks do give you resources, but introduce fatal weak spots. Dexter's total independence meant that nobody could snitch, because nobody knew anything. Dexter's self-sufficiency kept him invisible, but that only worked if he could stay hidden when law enforcement started looking. So let's see how his hiding tactics measured up. Dexter Morgan knew that the best hiding spot was right out in the open. A regular job, a regular house, a regular life that gave investigators absolutely nothing suspicious to find. Throughout the original series, Dexter kept a steady cover. He worked at Miami Metro Homicide, went to department meetings, showed up at crime scenes, and helped with investigations. In Season 3, he became friends with Assistant District Attorney Miguel Prado, going to social events and building relationships that made his normal guy act even more believable. He married Rita Bennett, a single mother with 2 kids, and in Season 4, they had a son together, Harrison. He bought a house, paid a mortgage, filed taxes, and showed up in public records as a boring forensic analyst. Even after faking his death in Hurricane Laura at the end of Season 8, Dexter rebuilt the exact same type of life in Iron Lake, working at Fred's fishing game, dating the police chief Angela Bishop, and living in a cabin where he knew his neighbors and participated in town stuff. This approach turned normal life into a weapon. Investigators looked for weird patterns, people who only pay cash, dodge cameras, moved around constantly, have no work history. Dexter had none of those red flags. He existed in every database exactly like he should. His bank account showed regular paychecks from real jobs. His tax returns matched what he said he earned. His social media, barely there but present, showed a boring suburban dad. When Miami Metro investigated the Bay Harbor Butcher in Season 2, Dexter sat in the room helping crack the case. He looked at evidence, suggested theories, and helped build the profile of the killer himself, while Special Agent Frank Lundy ran the federal task force. The brilliance was simple. If you look like everyone else, nobody looks at you. But what about fugitives who couldn't blend in because their faces were plastered on wanted posters in every police station and post office across America? When someone lands on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, blending in becomes impossible. Their face is everywhere, pushing them into total isolation and constant running. Robert William Fisher allegedly killed his wife and 2 children in Scottsdale, Arizona in 2001, then blew up the house and vanished. The FBI put him on the 10 most wanted list in 2002. Despite reporting sightings across the western United States and Mexico, Fisher has never been found. The FBI thinks he probably died in the wilderness, but his disappearance required cutting himself off completely from society. He couldn't get a job, couldn't rent a place, couldn't use his real name for anything. Ted Bundy, after his 1977 escape, tried blending in to Tallahassee, Florida, using a stolen credit card and living in a cheap boarding house. Within weeks, his photo had been spread enough that people recognized him, forcing him to keep moving. Police caught him shortly after. The FBI's 10 most wanted list goes out to roughly 18,000 law enforcement agencies. Photos hit border crossings, airports, bus stations, hotels. Media coverage makes everyone aware. The publicity makes normal life impossible. You can't walk into a bank, rent an apartment, or fill out a job application without risking someone recognizing you. Eric Rudolph survived 5 years in the Appalachian Mountains by avoiding people almost entirely. He lived off what he could steal and scavenge. A rookie police officer in Murphy, North Carolina, caught him in 2003 digging through a dumpster behind a Save-A-Lot grocery store at 4 a.m. 5 years of perfect hiding ended because he needed food. Dexter went to work every morning at a police station. Most wanted fugitives couldn't even go to a grocery store without risking everything. So once again, our winner is Dexter. Living a normal life in plain sight versus being forced underground with your face on every wanted poster? Visibility wins when you're not actually being hunted. Hiding in plain sight only worked because Dexter never triggered the one thing that destroys anonymity, which brings us to how law enforcement attention gets activated in the first place. Dexter Morgan specifically targeted people society wouldn't miss. Killers who slipped through the justice system. Criminals already hiding from law enforcement. The code Harry taught Dexter was specific. Only kill people who are guilty of murder, who've escaped legal justice. Throughout the series, Dexter's targets were drug dealers, child molesters, serial killers, and violent criminals. In Season 2, when scuba divers accidentally found his underwater graveyard off Miami coast, they recovered 18 dismembered bodies. Every single one belonged to a known criminal. People with records, people who evaded prosecution, people who slipped through legal cracks. When the FBI dubbed him the Bay Harbor Butcher and launched a massive investigation led by Special Agent Frank Lundy, they built a profile, but they struggled with motive because the victims were all violent criminals themselves. The victim selection had a strategic genius. Nobody was looking for these people. When a drug dealer vanishes, other criminals don't file missing person reports. When a killer who beat a murder charge disappears, detectives don't launch investigations. Dexter's body count could climb because he was removing people from a world that already operated in shadows. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only happened because of accidental discovery. Divers looking for treasure stumbled onto his dumping ground. Without that accident, Dexter's victims would stay missing indefinitely. Compare that to fugitives whose crimes were so public, so violent, so impossible to ignore that law enforcement had no choice but to make them priority targets. FBI most wanted fugitives typically committed crimes so public and devastating that law enforcement couldn't ignore them even if they wanted to. Eric Robert Rudolph bombed Centennial Olympic Park during the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, killing one person and injuring 111 others. The attack happened during the world's biggest sporting event, with international media coverage. The FBI had no choice but to make him a priority. He was added to the 10 most wanted list in 1998 and caught in 2003. Timothy McVeigh bombed the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City in 1995, killing 168 people, including 19 children. The blast destroyed the building and damaged 324 other structures within a 16-block radius. The manhunt for McVeigh involved every federal agency. He was caught within 90 minutes of the bombing during a routine traffic stop, but if he escaped, the entire country would have been hunting him. These crimes demanded federal response. Public bombings, mass casualties, attacks that made national news. Law enforcement didn't look the other way. The scale and visibility forced resource allocation. When Ted Bundy escaped and killed 3 more victims in Florida, including 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, the media coverage was massive. His photo appeared everywhere. Witnesses came forward. Tips flooded in. The FBI created a profile and put him on the 10 most wanted list. He was caught within weeks. Dexter killed over 135 people across more than 20 years. Until that accidental discovery in Season 2, nobody even knew that those people were dead, let alone murdered by the same person. So once again, our winner is Dexter. Selecting invisible victims who nobody was looking for versus committing public attacks that forced massive law enforcement response? Invisibility beats infamy when staying free is the goal. So what do you think? Could Dexter's victim selection have kept him off law enforcement's radar forever? Or would modern technology eventually catch him anyway? Drop your comments below. Dexter Morgan killed for over 20 years. He operated inside a police department surrounded by homicide detectives, and nobody suspected him. He built a system that worked. He followed the code. He stayed invisible. Most wanted fugitives operated under the full weight of federal manhunts. Photos distributed to thousands of agencies. Massive rewards offered. Media coverage keeping their faces in public consciousness. Resources mobilized specifically to find them. The comparison seems straightforward until you realize that we're measuring 2 completely different games. Dexter succeeded because nobody was playing against him. His victims were people society had already given up on. His methods left minimal evidence. His cover life was so perfectly ordinary that it functioned as active camouflage. He had time to plan, resources from legitimate employment, and freedom to operate without anyone actively hunting him. Most wanted fugitives failed because the entire system activated against them. Their crimes were too public to ignore. Their faces became nationally recognizable. Their resources, however extensive, couldn't overcome coordinated federal pursuit. Whitey Bulger had 25 million and 16 years of experience evading capture. The FBI still found him. Eric Rudolph survived in the wilderness for 5 years. A rookie cop still caught him digging through the trash. Here's what makes this comparison unfair. If Dexter had committed crimes that put him on the most wanted list, public attacks, high-profile victims, media-generating violence, he would have been caught within months. His face would have been everywhere. His forensic expertise wouldn't have helped him once every cop in America was looking for him. His normal life cover would have collapsed the second his photo hit the news. But if most wanted fugitives had operated with Dexter's methodology, careful victim selection, meticulous planning, years of preparation, targeting people that nobody was looking for, they might have not made the list at all. Dexter's secret wasn't evading the FBI, it was making sure that they never even knew he existed. His genius was staying so far under the radar that nobody ever thought to look up. The fugitives on the most wanted list triggered the machine. Dexter understood how to avoid triggering it altogether. Calling that a fair fight would be a joke. They're playing two entirely different games. One group was running from the most powerful investigative force in the world, the other was walking past it every morning with a cup of coffee and a smile. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on, and don't forget to check out our recent upload about why Dexter vs. real life FBI isn't even close.